simplicity of the concept. The concept is very simple. Very evil people are running the planet and want to kill you. And they're trying to do that, and they're aggressively pursuing this goal right now.
By now, you guys have probably heard that David Wilcock has offed himself. Do we believe it? Absolutely not. As you can see from that clip, he said it himself. There are very big people who are trying to kill you. And he was talking about himself. Just a few days before this news came out, he had said that scientists have gone missing and they're dying, and that he was not going to do anything to himself. Right. Yet somehow this is the letter that was left with his lawyer. I do deeply apologize to everyone if something like an accident ended up happening. Thank you for loving me. I feel I have done the very best that I could. My health has collapsed from poverty, starvation, and disease. I have also now almost completely run out of money. I did my very best to keep on going for as long as I could for my family, friends, and all of my greater family of supporters. I want you to know how much I love you and how sorry I am if something ended up happening to me. I know that accidents are possible in my reduced state. I hope that this serves as a valid outline for path forward in the event that I was lost, and that I have your forgiveness. I feel I have done the best I could in a very difficult situation. It's giving fake. It's giving planted. It's giving ChatGPT. Okay? Do we buy this? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
One of the things that I learned from whistleblowers from the cabal itself is that they have to work within something they call the rules. And this is very, very important. The rules are a body of spiritual principles that they must follow in order to be allowed to exist. Now, what do I mean by allowed to exist? I mean that they are aware that there are benevolent forces that will prevent them from achieving their goals unless we give them permission to enslave us. Ultimately, the universe is intelligent, alive, and conscious, and it is benevolent. It is a benevolent consciousness. That consciousness does not allow the negative to succeed unless it is invited. So the cabal has made a science, a very elaborate science, out of studying these arcane, occult, magical principles that allow them to get away with what they do. So they have to put out everything that tells you who they are in music videos, in the Super Bowl halftime shows, the Grammy Awards ceremonies. They're out there showing you the truth. This is what people are going to have so much trouble with once disclosure happens, is that these people actually practice black magic, and they are very, very good at it.
It's very clear that that letter was 99% fake, and that the story that they're telling us is 99.9% fake. So rest in peace, David. Thank you for the work that you've done. I really do appreciate everyone that has come forward, spoken out. You know, you guys paved the way for people like me to be able to speak out. Guys, I'm also not gonna take myself out, just so everybody is aware, but this is insane. This is insane, but not surprised, because it happens all the time in the society we live in today, unfortunately.
What the hell are you doing, dude? You're going to lose.
Do you really want to see why this actually happened to David Wilcock? I'm about to show you his video in tears. Remember in my first video, I told you guys he was on the verge of discovering something big. Not just that, he knew things that were big. I'll explain it as we go.
To God. This is true, folks. You need to stop this shit. Some things I don't mind talking about. I don't like talking about this. What the hell are you doing, dude? You're going to lose. You're not going to win. It's inevitable. We already know, because the future timeline is fixed. This particular timeline that we're on leads to your defeat. There is no getting around that. You are not being in integrity, but you don't care. But if you don't do this, we are screwed, man. You think this is all natural? You think nobody's coordinating any of this stuff? You think I want to talk about this? You think I want to be up here on the camera talking about this?
So what exactly is he talking about? I'll tell you. He has ins with a bunch of intelligent assets and companies, and he knows, based on Project Looking Glass, that the future had two routes and we avoided one route in 2012. It's very real. It's like the chronovisor in the Vatican that can show things that happened in the past. Yes, that's real too. It gets even crazier. Just hold on. He's wrong about one part and it hurts my heart, and that is that we will win in the end, not physically, not in the flesh, but spiritually, that Jesus already won. But not believing in Jesus, what he sees is the destruction of humanity, therefore he thinks it's the end. He knows the contract the government has with these benevolent beings of spiritual wickedness in high places. That, and what I just told you, is why. Did you know that David Wilcock is what the intelligence assets called a person of interest? What if I told you they were putting him under hypnosis the entire time he was a child? It's so easy for us to say, this person's evil, they're controlled, this and that. Not understanding they're in a very delicate, very adverse situation where they have these extremely benevolent societies that are controlling their actions even as children.
Why was I waking up under hypnosis? Why was I walking out the door of my house in the middle of the night, hundreds of times as a child, and I couldn't remember where I was going? And at the end of the thing, they just make me walk back to where I was, and then the memory is lost. And I don't remember what happened, but now I do. Now I do.
David Wilcock was a targeted person. He was tormented since his youth. He was recruited, started seeing a truth that whatever he was working for is benevolent. The whole story will be on YT.
David Wilcock, he knew the truth about black people. He understood that there was a metaphysical symbiotic connection between black people's DNA and how it's able to interface with these ultra-terrestrials who are interdimensional, outer-dimensional, extraterrestrial entities that come from a different star system, which are basically the same entities that the 12 scientists were also talking about, the ones that came up missing. So there's a metaphysical connection to everything that's taking place when it comes to the unaliving of David Wilcock and the 12 scientists missing. Now, here's a video back from 2012 where David Wilcock said verbatim that he will be unalived for putting out information talking about Simeon Toko, a man who had the abilities of Jesus, a man from Africa. And he said that he will be unalived for putting out this information inside of his book.
The crazy story that I heard, which, and remember, it was told at the time that if I disclosed this, that I would be killed. And I ended up putting it in the book anyway. The story was that this guy, they finally said, okay, we're going to bring you to the United Nations and share your message with the world. Let's get you on this flight. They bring him on this flight, and instead of bringing him to the United Nations, they shot him repeatedly, and then actually had some kind of meat grinder device, and basically like a bandsaw, I guess, and split up his body into a whole bunch of pieces. These very like radioactive shielded containers, and then these fighter jets dock with the plane and fly his body parts to the corners of the world. And then these containers turn them into ash. And they thought that maybe this would defeat him, like that his body somehow, the tissue was necessary. So if they destroyed all the tissue in all these places across the world, maybe they could defeat him. Well, he then regenerated in their offices.
Now, when you get into the esoterics and the conspiracy of it, David Wilcock, he died on 4/20 at age 53. So from April 20th all the way up until the time of June 12th of 2026, that's 53 days apart exactly. And that's when the movie Disclosure Day comes out on June 12th. So from June 12th all the way back to April 20th is exactly 53 days apart, and David Wilcock was unalived at age 53. There's an esoteric connection with that. And then when you look at the movie cover of Disclosure Day, it's the same deer that was on Leave the World Behind. So there's a metaphysical connection with that.
I think it is absolutely crazy how many scientists are dying and disappearing out of the blue. Like, no one knows what happened to them. And in many cases, they said that they actually committed suicide, but I find that really hard to believe. This is the case of David Wilcock, who dedicated his entire life to the elevation and the evolution of human consciousness. I need to show you this clip because he's the number 12 scientist that has disappeared suddenly, and allegedly he killed himself, but I don't think so. I've been following this man for years. His teachings were so powerful, and he got silenced because of this, what he said right here.
But the potential of the human being is so vast. Once our pineal gland is activated, that's one of the big secrets. There is a functional third eye inside your brain. We've talked about that in previous videos. When we get to this pineal activation, is there going to be some sort of transfiguration of the earth and the way that things have been going on earth into a happier and more positive age? Now, the human being is a galactic emanation. DNA is a universal and galactic emanation. And these are the cycles of life. So we begin at the top of the cycle, not knowing very much, You can see here that the first thing that happens to the hero is a call to adventure. Then we have supernatural aid that comes in. There is a threshold guardian, i.e. an enemy, that interrupts the call to adventure. This is a magical kingdom that we now enter into. There is a threshold area. There are mentors and helpers that come to help us. And then we hit this bottom point, the abyss, and it should very much be at the bottom of the wheel. This is the point called all is lost, or the dark night of the soul, where it seems that there's no way out and there may actually be the risk of physical death, if not an actual death, in the story. But through this process comes revelation and transformation. There is a facing off against the villain. The villain in these stories represents the projection of the Father. The Father represents the negative, the adversary, but it also represents your ego, the part of you that is uninformed by cosmic intelligence and wisdom. But then there's an atonement with the Father, a sort of apology and forgiveness. Then you eventually cross back into the known world, and then you have to return to the world you came from. And from that return, you now transform the world for the better.
So this makes me realize that there is something so powerful that they don't want us to know. But also, the more they do this, the louder the message it gets. And I feel like we're finally waking up. We're not blind anymore. We see through the veil. Humanity as a collective is finally waking up, and that makes me so freaking happy.
I just got done meditating and I asked to tune in to David Wilcock's he was one of my first teachers. I remember I used to have like really profound dreams with him, and he used to tell me that my voice was very powerful. This was like 20 years ago, before I ever had a platform, before I ever started teaching, before I ever even believed in myself. So it does make me really obviously sad and upset what's going on, but I tuned into all of the scientists and I just asked for a message for all of us. Message was for all of us to unite as souls, to unite as a community, and not to allow this to strike like fear and hate into our hearts. That we need to really realize that this was part of the plan. This was part of their soul mission. They knew coming in that this is what was going to happen, and it was going to be such a massive effect on us as humans, and to awaken us more and to allow us to come together and to realize that if you feel like you can't do something, you absolutely can do something. The one thing that he taught, he taught so many things, but for our vibrations and our frequency to tell a better story. And if we can come together and tell the story that, no, this was part of the plan to awaken us and to unite us. Let's be honest, if they're out there doing this, if they're out there murdering all these scientists and stuff, then they're scared. They're scared of us. They're scared of us awakening. We have the power. We have the power to tell a better story. If we can all stop watching the narrative and the news of the story that they're telling, that they're trying to tell about war and hate and greed, and we come back to ourselves and we meditate and we heal our nervous system and we love, and we just love each other and we love ourselves, and we raise the frequency first of ourselves and then of the planet, that everything is going to get better. You guys, everything is going to get better, and everything can get better. This does not have to be a time of sadness, and it is sad. Don't get me wrong, this is, but I just asked for an overall message, and it is for us to not be scared anymore. It is for us to love. That's all I keep getting, like, love, connect, become community, don't be scared, tell a better story. The stories that we tell is what will happen on the planet. That is how it works. That is the science behind it right now. Whether you have faith in that or not, or understand the science of how quantum physics works, or whatever you want to call it, how prayer works, how manifestation works, how it's the same word. It doesn't matter what you connect with, but it's the same thing that's happening. Our focus and our attention, it's a war. It's a war for our focus and our attention. That is what they are fighting for. They're grasping for it through the news, through politics, through sports, through music, any way that they can get our attention. And this could just be another tactic to try to get our attention to feel fear. And I absolutely refuse to let all of their hard work go to waste. And I know that David Wilcock teaches to tell a good story, to have a high vibration, to not be scared, to feel love and gratitude in our hearts as much as we can. And we need to come together right now more than ever to be connected, to be full of love, and to tell a new narrative, a new story. It's almost like they're saying love. Just love is the highest frequency. So let's honor their lives. Let's love what they have done and what they have done for us. I see everybody on the internet coming together and the journalists telling the story. And if we all come together, you guys, they're not going to have any power anymore. And we can have heaven on earth, I believe, right now in our lifetime. So please do this, share this message, repost this. I know that everybody is going through their different process of fear or hate or confusion. And I just want everybody to know that I'm getting this download to really take a deep breath and to soften and to relax. This is all part of the plan, and that we're good. Keep going, we're good. This is part of the plan, and we got this, you guys, we got this.
These scientists that have been unalived suspiciously, they knew they were being hunted. They knew the shit they were exposing would get them unalived.
I started it as a public-facing persona to disclose anti-gravity technology through, because I told Mark this. If you stick your neck out in public, at least someone notices if your head gets chopped off.
And what did David Wilcock say 2 days before he was unalived? Right after finding out his biographer was suspiciously unalived.
Scientists are going missing. Now they're saying they're going to investigate this. The president himself is saying they're going to look into this and see if anything's going on. It's a little bit scary, I got to say. Anyway, it's a very exciting time to be alive, man. It's a very exciting time to be here on Earth.
Does that sound like a guy who's going to end his own life 2 days later? I don't think so. He's been saying this will probably happen to him for years. Years. And the Boulder police are saying that he was having mental health issues and turned the weapon on himself. I'm suspicious of that statement. I think it's time people go back and look at all the shit he was exposing before it's scrubbed from the internet. And all these other researchers. At least they're making the truth easier to find. So there's that. And as always, I am of sound mind and will not do that. Because it's a very exciting time to be alive.
David Wilcock just passed away, y'all. And he was into the paranormal. Something about this is not normal. They said he passed away shortly after making a 911 call after he was having a mental crisis. Before this happened, they said he was looking into people that was disappearing and he was connecting the dots. And now he's gone. And people online is already saying something's not right. People said that he said numerous times he's not suicidal and that he felt like he was being watched. He ultimately passed away. They say he was scared that something was going to happen. Here's where it's getting crazy, y'all, because it's not just one person. People is connecting the dots of people going missing that was doing the same research that he was doing, or that was in the same field as him. So I gotta ask y'all, do y'all think this is a coincidence or is something going on? We always see things like this when they say people going crazy, then next thing you know, he unalived himself or somehow he was unalive. I'm not saying that's what's happening right here, but it just make you pay attention more. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down below in the comments.